A lot of the discussion has centered around the Vikings offense, especially the dysfunctional nature of the offensive line, a series of endless penalties on largely the offense, especially in the first half of the game. How about the defense? Uneven performance, I think it's fair to say. Some things done well early, but a couple of significant breakdowns that in part opened the door to the home team, the Cincinnati Bengals, feeling encouraged and feeling like we got a chance to win the ball game. We discuss all that with Vikings defensive coordinator Andre Patterson, who's going to join us weekly again this year as well. And we get into some personnel questions regarding who dressed and who didn't on the defense. A couple of interesting things to say about the healthy scratch as it pertains to your guy, Cam Dantzler. That's among the subjects we explore with the Vikings defensive coordinator. As a toss-up question today, from your standpoint, give me what you liked defensively yesterday. If you can like anything. I know the object of the game is to win the game. But what did you see from the defense that you liked against the Bengals?
Well, I think in the first half of the game, I was really excited the way we played the run game. You know, we mixed in some 3-4 stuff and having Dalvin Tomlinson and Michael Pierce in the middle really slowed things down, and then being able to have, Daniil, stand up on the edge gave us hard edges. And I mean, I think they had like 14 or 16 yards rushing going into halftime. So that part of it was real good. And then I liked the way we rushed in the second half. I think we finished the game with 5 sacks, and I think we hit him like 9 times. So I liked the way that we rushed in the second half of the game. So, really what it comes down to is the 2 big explosive passes, played a part in 14 points. And, that was the biggest thing defensively.
We'll get to that in a minute. You mentioned the 3-4. Zim had talked a lot, that hinted that this time he was going to do more than experiment. He was going to make some changes. How much 3-4 would you say you played from a percentage standpoint yesterday?
I'm going to guess somewhere between 25, max 30% of the game.
Okay. And what does that do in terms of what do you think that gives you guys when it was working well? What about that look or that formation you think is worth using even as much as that?
Well, I think the thing that's happened then over the course of the years is offense has changed, and the run game now is more lateral and stretch you towards the sideline and have the back put his foot in the ground and find a seam. And so what ends up happening when you're in that with a 0 nose and 2 4 eyes, it really kind of stops the movement as it travels, towards the sideline, and they're not able to get as much stretch on the play. And so you don't have as many, vertical creases that can open up. And so that's the biggest advantage that it gives you. In some cases, you're not in the best position to rush the passer, like you would in your normal 4-3 defense. And so, so that's the reason why you kind of get in it and get out of it, because, really in that, when you're in the 3-4, that stand-up outside linebackers are the one that has a chance to make something happen, where the other 3 interior guys are not in the best possible position to be able to rush the passer.
Vikings defensive coordinator Andre Patterson is our guest on The Fan. You mentioned the first half you were pleased with what you guys did with their ground game. They end up with 149 yards rushing, I think, total. So that got better as the game wore on. Is it something an adjustment they made? Why did they become, I know, far more successful later than you guys are interested in from your defense?
Yeah, two of them were misfits on our part. One of them was a blitz, inside blitz, and they took the ball outside, so we were out leveraged on that. So, those were the 3 biggest runs that occurred, in the second half of the game. And so, you look at it on tape, and we looked at it this morning with the players, and we make those adjustments. But those were the biggest runs that hurt us in the second half of the game.
What did you think of Nick Vigil? He had some nice, what they call in the business, or we call them, I don't know what you guys call them, splash plays.
Mm-hmm.
How would you evaluate his performance yesterday?
Oh, I thought he did a great job. He played well. He was very productive. I think he ended up with double-digit tackles. Yep. He had a sack in the game, and I thought he did a great job. As a matter of fact, he should have had two. On the one touchdown, we had a blitz called, and he didn't hit the A gap. If he would have blitzed in the A gap, he'd have had a 2-sack day, and the quarterback maybe not been able to make that touchdown throw. But I thought he did a good job for his first game playing with us, and I thought he was active, and he stood in there very well.
I think he had also 2 tackles for loss in the game. Mm-hmm. He, I believe, was involved in making the key stop on the 4th and 1 that the Bengals went with from their own 30. Were you as surprised by that decision as I was, and that it appeared your head coach, Mike Zimmer, was? What did you think of that move as it was happening?
No, I was very surprised. You're winning by 14 points. So, I thought they were going to punt the ball. So, it was a big stop for us, and, gave us some energy and life, and it gave us a chance to go in and score it and take it down to a 1-score game. So I was very surprised when that occurred.
You mentioned the big plays. Let's talk a little bit about them. I think probably from a fan standpoint, the most frustrating thing, and I would think from a coach's standpoint too, is at the end of the half, we all assume the job one of your secondary is to keep everything in front of you. That's the one thing that you can't allow happen, and it did happen with Breland. How does a player get beat deep there in that situation?
Well, he was in good shape. He just turned the wrong way. He turned into the receiver instead of turning back to the ball. So if he had turned towards the ball, he'd had a chance to intercept the ball. He turned the wrong way, and that's what got him in trouble. So, so again, you just you look at that on tape and you show it to him, and it wasn't like he was up pressed on the guy. He just turned the wrong way. So. We just got to make that correction with him, and he's a veteran player that did some real good things in the game, but he turned the wrong way, and that's what hurt him.
I think the last couple of minutes, really the last minute plus of the second quarter, was pretty key, both offensively and defensively, because you guys get a 3-and-out where you get nothing done offensively, and they are able to not just get 3 on the board, but get an added 7 on the board. Pretty key stretch both ways, don't you think?
No question. That drive before the half, and then the first drive of the second half. Those 2 drives I think were the worst 2 that we played all day. The first drive of the second half, yep. I think they scored, and then the last drive before half they scored. So those were 2 big turning points in the game that we got to do a better job at.
Help us understand on the outside looking in what's going on with Dantzler. As I understand it, he was a healthy scratch. I don't think he was hurt. There were such high hopes for him and high expectations. How do you get to that place where he is not even dressed for your first game?
Well, the one thing about this business is it's a production business. You got to go out there and play well to be on the field. The guys all the guys on the team at every position are competing to go play. And if you're not playing well enough and other guys are playing better than you, then you got to play the guys that are playing the best at this moment. And so the good thing is he can fix it. He can fix it by the way he goes out and practice and the way that he plays. And, right now, the guys that are in front of him are just playing better than him right now.
Is there a specific part of his game that you guys need to see improvement in?
No, it's just all of the skills that go along with playing corner, and being competitive, so that's what it comes down to. You got to go out there and you got to compete. You got to compete in practice. If you can't compete in practice and you're not competitive in practice, then you're not going to be able to go out and play in the games. And so, like I said, the good part of it is he can fix it. He's talented enough. It's just a matter of him going out there and fix it.
Let's talk also about the 4th down play that led to the game-winning field goal in overtime. Tony Dungy, during the highlight in the evening, they were reviewing that game, and Dungy was very unhappy. He said that you guys were too concerned about stopping the 1 yard when he said what's got to matter is you got to worry about the larger yardage issue to get in real field goal range. I looked at it from afar as if it just looked like it was a very well executed play. What did you see? Should we view that as a breakdown in terms of your coverage, or just that they really their quarterback made a good read, good decision there? Because as I understand it, he had the choice to go to the sneak or to throw there, and he just made the right call, made a good pass, and they made a good play. What do you think?
Well, I think the biggest thing, Dan, is that people have to also remember that field goal kicker. He kicked a 60-yarder earlier in the game, or close to 60 yards. He's got a strong leg, so they were only 7 yards, 5 to 7 yards away from that guy's field goal range. So it wasn't your normal deal where most people have to get that ball close to the 30-yard line, to be in field goal range. That's number one. Number two, we had practiced that play. They had showed that play on film. We had practiced that play versus that defensive alignment and that coverage. And I can't remember who it was that had the coverage on the guy that came across to catch the ball, but he was standing right in front of him, and the guy came right to him, and all he had to do was cover him. But they had another crosser come across, and he put his eyes and vision on that guy and let the other guy come across. So, and right at that moment, DJ Wanham had just came clean. So if the guy who was standing there had covered him, he would have had nowhere to go with the ball, and DJ would have had a chance to sack him. So, it was a good check by their quarterback. It wasn't like it was a surprise play that we hadn't practiced. We had practiced the play, and we just didn't finish off the execution.
I'm assuming that when it was made official, at least publicly, that Mike was going to continue to call the defensive signals, the most unsurprised person in the world was you. I got a kick out of that whole period where he was mulling out that possibility out loud, and I certainly didn't see it. And you've kind of told us before that you'll be rather shocked if there ever comes a time when Zims gives up play calling. So I'm assuming that wasn't like a Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson kind of upset for you?
No. Not one bit. He came to me and was like, do you want to call defense in the preseason game? And I was like, well, no. I've called defenses before, so I don't need to practice calling it. And I knew he was going to call it, so I knew he was going to call it. So it wasn't a surprise to me at all.
How do you divide things up with Adam Zimmer? Is there different roles for both of you? Everybody does everything together? How's that work, and how's that working out?
Oh, it works great. I handle the run game. He deals with the pass rush part of it. The passing game part of it, and we both sit together and decide, our calls and the calls that we're gonna, work on during the week in practice and what we do on a daily basis. So it works. We work real good together.
As we wrap things up here, we're chatting with Vikings defensive coordinator Andre Patterson. What was the message, after the game to the team? Because you obviously got back in it. You had a chance, and you had a chance to win it. The big fumble call hurt. On the other hand, it's a game that I think you guys thought, well, if we're going to be the team we want to be, we got to go there and start and win the first game. So what was the message like after the game from the coaches, or from Zim in particular?
Well, the biggest thing is, we can't shoot ourselves in the foot. You can't have all those penalties. To have all those penalties, in the course of the game, over 100 yards, worth of penalties, and then you're able to still take the game to overtime. You still got a chance to win the game if we don't fumble it. At least tie it. It was going to be a tie if we had, kept possession of the ball. Shows that, we kept fighting through the game and we put ourselves back in position to win the game. But, usually when you have 100 and some yards worth of penalties, it's usually a long day for you, and so for the guys to rally out of that and fight and keep us in the game and give us a chance to win it at the end, that's the positive part of it. But I think the thing that we got to do is we got to make sure we clean up the penalties, and we can't have that many penalties, during a game, because you keep giving the other team a second bite at the apple. So I think those is number one thing we got to, improve on as a football team. Number one is cutting down on beating ourselves.
Lastly, you've got Arizona coming up this Sunday, and they have to be feeling very good about themselves after they go on the road and pretty much thrash the Titans. So I don't have to tell you, Kyler Murray has an awful lot of talent and an awful lot of mobility. What can you begin to size up this particular challenge?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one for us defensively. He runs well with the ball in his hands. He can throw the ball from awkward positions on the run. He can make guys miss in space. He's got three, big time receivers that have the ability to make plays. So, we're going to have our hands full with him. And then, over on defense, you got a defensive end that had 5 sacks in one game last week. Plus you got J.J. Watt. So, we're going to have our hands full this week, and we just got to go back to work and, do a great job in preparation and make the corrections on the mistakes that we made in the game and go into Arizona and fight.
He is the Vikings defensive coordinator, Andre Patterson, joining us on a weekly basis, offering his review after looking at the tape of what took place yesterday, especially on the defensive side of the ball. If you'd like to react to that, Bradshaw and Bryan inbox is open, booth, BOOTH, at KFAN.com. It's been Vikings heavy, really start to finish, and we will not disappoint. We're going to stay with it the rest of the way. We have some more Vikings talking points to discuss, including a couple that we got to much earlier in the show, but I think are definitely worth revisiting, including this question. Which NFC North team had the most embarrassing setback? We went 0-4. We know that. All 4 teams lost. Which loss was the worst?
And now, famous moments in a
kick-ass offense.
Cousins, empty backfield, back to pass, flag on the play. He's hit and sacked, but a false start on the Vikings. Their 9th penalty will nullify what would have been the 3rd sack for Cincinnati.
There was no play. False start. Offense. Number 75. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Well, you got Bradbury and Cleveland yet to have false starts. If they happen to get those, then we've hit the pick 5.
Join us again for another famous moment in a